So welcome along. I hope you enjoyed the 5-part series called Faith. And when I first wrote this program, it was really about my health, to be honest, is that I had been doing a session down the Gold Coast that was a free seminar that our clients had been encouraged to invite as many people along as possible. And there was a gentleman in the audience by the name of Jeff Osborne, and he had purchased his own franchise and was very, very excited in the health and wellness industry. And he approached me at the end of the seminar and he said, I want to help you. I really want to help this vision get off the ground. And his franchise was a Vision personal training franchise. So it all just fit very, very beautifully. And he said, come down, meet my team, and if you can add any value from a coaching perspective, then we'd love to hear what you have to say. And working with them as clients, what I understood was that, you know, health and wellness is really something that leaders, you know, embrace and take hold of and invest in. And the caliber of clients that they were able to introduce me to was an incredible community of people here on the Gold Coast. Because I've just moved, it's great that I had the opportunity to not just meet with the owner of the business, but then him introduce me to some of their top clients. And it gave me a new perspective on, I guess, working in a group, because certainly what we're recognizing is that coaching is effective when you do it one-on-one. That's the best way to learn, because one-on-one is the easiest way to be able to humble ourselves and ask maybe the tough questions. And but there's a community spirit that also helps us to celebrate and spur other people on to what their goals and dreams are. And to me, the Vision franchise really had this nailed from a health perspective. And so I was really excited to sit down with the owner of the business and go through their sales process, because I wanted to understand, if I was going to coach them, how their sales process worked. And the best way to do that was to become a customer. And so he took me through the process and he said, you know, what are my dreams and goals? And, you know, for my 40th birthday, we're taking 40 clients over to the Bahamas, and we're going to be celebrating in the world's greatest theme park, which also was launched on the 10th of May, which is going to be my birthday. And so it's going to be a really exciting trip. And I had a vision in my head of, you know, 40 years old, of what I would look like and how much I'd weigh and what that whole experience was going to cost, and, you know, how much excitement that was going to be. And he said, well, what if I could help you get there? Instead of a year and a half, I'll help you get there in 4 months. And it just totally smashed my paradigm. In fact, his belief in the unseen was so strong that he said that he would personally train me and achieve that result. Now, faith to me can be tested, okay? Now, to me, the faith that I had in my ability to be able to produce that result was 0%, because I had given myself a year and a half to achieve what an expert in the industry said would take him just on 12 to 15 weeks. And so what was that telling me about my ability? Or what was that telling me about my blocks, or the journey that was about to be taken? And, you know, when I sit with a franchisor and they tell me their biggest issues, and I say, look, I can have that fixed for you in 2 weeks, you know, that I get that same reaction, that they have 0 faith in my ability to be able to achieve that, because they might have been struggling with this situation for 2 to 5 years. And certainly that was my experience in health. 2 to 5 years I've struggled with a self-image that I wasn't proud of, that I wasn't happy with, that I didn't know where it stemmed from, and that I really was not that excited about going on that journey to discover inside myself where my blocks were. Because, you know, I had other areas of my life. I gave every classic objection, which is, there's just no way, because I've got 3 kids, and so what you're asking me to invest in time is just not possible. Okay, I just can't do it, because who's going to look after the children? The next objection I had was, I just simply, you know, am not valuing this enough to be able to invest. Just the money, the time, the everything. I love what you've told me, but it's just not an option for where I'm at right now. And he said, okay, well, I want you to know that I can guarantee that result. And so I want you to go home and sit with your husband when the kids are in bed, and I want you to tell him what it would mean to you if you could achieve this. And just talk to him about it. That's all I'm asking. So, you know, he gave me a very good first step. The first step, could I do that? Could I just go and talk to the person who loved me more than I loved myself, and talk to them about the vision that one of the mentors had cast for me, that what I could be achieving? Do you know, that was one of the greatest lessons, and I have applied this since to business, that that I perhaps was missing, was that without getting the spouse on board to be able to cast the vision very, very clearly and put the emotion behind the dream, then we were not drawing out the best results from people. And when I sat down with my husband and said, this is where I am really struggling, business isn't an issue, money's not an issue, social's not an issue, vocation's not an issue, personal development's not an issue, but my health, my well-being, prioritising it, it is a real challenge for me. And this guy said in 4 months he can have it nailed. Do you know the first thing that happened was that I had full support, 100% aligned full support. He said, well, you need to do it. I'll do whatever it takes to support you in this. You find out from him what it's going to take, and I'll look after the children. I'll make sure I'm home from work. I will help. I'll support. I'll do all the grocery shopping. I'll do it with you. Whatever you need, I'll be able to help you. Now, for those of you that have met Kent, you know he's a personal trainer. He values health. But what I've really admired around him is that he waited until my time was perfect. It was never a you have to, because I'm a personal trainer and you're a reflection on me, or he loved me unconditionally. How much of that was I testing him? And I see this happen with money. I see people testing people around money. Do you love me if I've got no money? Do you love me if I'm fat? Do you love me if my lowest potential is turning up today? How am I challenging people? And this is the area of faith that I had to learn. And the reason that I had to learn it was so that I could teach it. And I have such conviction as I sit here and I teach it. I've just taken my first group of people through that 5-part series. And we had people at the end do major shifts, massive shifts, that they recognise that they don't have the right mentor for the block that they're facing. They might have a personal trainer, but they don't have a mind coach. They don't have an empowerment coach. They don't have a brand analyst. They don't have someone taking them shopping. They don't have somebody buying their meals, cooking their food. Like, where is the actual block to what is occurring here from a health perspective? What about a business perspective? I just don't have a marketing manager. I don't have a financial controller who's good enough, who can tell me, no, you're not getting access to any of the money. Do you know, I've always been put on pocket money. And that was from having a financial planner from 23 years of age. We never just made decisions to buy things. You just never had access to money. Every wise investor knows that the first trick is to be able to have full accountability towards your money. And so when Kent and I first started in business, we were saving 20 to 25% from day dot. And so it was a habit that even when we started on salaries of $22,000 a year, we were saving money to buy a car. We didn't go and get credit. We never had any lines of credit. We never had credit cards. We never had anything. We started with cash flow. Do you know, when I started in my franchise and we went to training and we were looking at, our marketing strategies and cash flows, and they were teaching about money, and they said, so look, put your seed capital in the top. And I said, what's that? And they said, well, include all your lines of credit and how much money you've got. And I said, well, I don't have any money. And they said, well, what do you mean you don't have any money? And I was like, well, isn't it a business? Don't you go and sell? And that's how you make money? And I was laughed at. There was 24 franchisees and everybody turned around and laughed at me. They said, you don't have a credit card? I said, no, I don't have any credit cards. When I got married, I changed my name, so I never bothered to change over my credit cards. I just chucked them out. And I learned my valuable lesson: you should go into business with a credit card, because once I left being an employee, I couldn't get a credit card. But do you know what it allowed me was to realise that my back was against the wall. I needed to produce a result. And it wasn't any surprise for the people that were in that franchise training, that were leading the training, to say, watch this space, because if somebody doesn't have any other financial options, they need to get a result. And my background was 10 years of selling, so sales was never going to be my issue. And so financial controlling, when I started to realise that I needed to have faith in the person that was managing my money. Okay, if someone's going to manage my money, they need to be good with money. I get my pocket money and that's what I spend. And so this was the same with my health, was someone was managing my nutrition. They were telling me, you eat this and you'll get a result. You exercise at this intensity for this long and you'll get a result. And I lost 13 kilos in the time frame that he said that I would, and I gained my self-image back. What's that worth? How do you put a price tag on that? You can't put a price tag on that. You can't put a price tag on how great you feel. But the bigger lesson that I got was I now have faith again. I have faith in mentors who can see for me what I can't see for me, and I've surrendered. I just start to trust. You tell me to eat that, I'll go to the shops and I'll buy it and I'll eat it. I'll eat it at the right time, at the right pace, and I'll do the right thing. Now, if you have a bad night and you fall off the horse, then you know you've got a mentor to ring and say, hey, you know, I went to the charity ball on Saturday night and this is exactly what I ate. This is exactly what I drank. What do I need to do today? And within 24 hours, I was exactly back on the scales to what I'd been lunchtime before I went. So it was no big deal. I didn't have any fear over what I was eating. I just went and had fun. Okay, when you're empowered around things, you don't have any fear. You know, faith is really the fundamental building block of wealth. If you don't have faith in yourself, if you don't trust yourself, if you don't know that you can do what you need to do, then you need to find a mentor, and you need to be able to have the experience like I've just had. And for me, it was never going to be in business, because I always had faith I was successful. I could walk into a flight centre business that was losing $48,000 a year, become a share owner of that business, and just because I was sitting in the seat, I did nothing. I did no marketing, I didn't do anything. The business was turned around, it was profitable. But it's very hard to duplicate that. It's very hard to teach that. It's very hard to articulate that. People would say I was lucky. And say, well, yeah, I guess I am lucky. For sure, I'm lucky. I live in Australia. That's lucky. You know, I'm youngest of 6 kids. My parents love me. Still married. That's lucky. I got great education. That was lucky. I'm healthy. That's lucky. Like, is it luck, or is it that I'm always in the right location with an understanding that I've got a contact and the knowledge to be able to make my own luck? And so I recognised straight away that faith was something that needs to be an intuitive process. As you start to recognise that, you know, you've lost faith in yourself, or you've lost faith in a franchisee, that's a critical time to bring someone third party in. Because I know in myself, when I had franchisees I'd lost faith in, that it was a slippery slope down. Because if I couldn't believe in them, then it wasn't going to be long before they disrespected themselves and they no longer could respect the process they were doing either. And so that's why I totally am convicted in the coaching process, because I couldn't do it. If I didn't have faith in somebody, I couldn't coach them. I couldn't help them. What I was saying was not helping them, it was hindering them. And so I couldn't talk to them anymore. My relationship needed to be severed. And so I worked with my master franchisor around understanding what I could do from a communication point of view to be able to help these people. But ultimately, from a legal point of view, there needed to be some massive change. And, you know, I was able to work through that process and end up having one of the most profitable franchisees with 3 people, 3 in our team, 3 coaches instead of 12. I had less stress. I had my lifestyle back. I had energy. I loved what I was doing. So I had to find the right formula for me, and I had to get back to the same net worth to be able to share the lesson, because that was my process that I had to go through. You don't have to have that dense process. You know, trust that if you get the feeling that this is something that you'd like to explore, you'd like to check out, and you want to understand, how do you regain that faith back again? How do you find a mentor? How do you learn to invest in yourself? You know, where's your attitude need checking? Then, you know, come along and introduce yourself. Come to a function. See us. Talk to Redchip. Have a talk with anybody that is in franchising about the results, and we would love to connect with you and be able to help you to get a faster result, more leisure, more fun with less stress, and I look forward to meeting you soon.